Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good day everyone. By the way, I am Jana Matuan, and today me and my group are going to discuss to you the chapter 7, which talks about continuing professional development, the lifeblood of the teaching profession. So, licensure examination for teacher, LETA. So we all know, the professional license for teaching can only be obtained. Makukuha lang natin to pag naipasa na natin yung licensure examination for teacher. And actually, it doesn't mean that we pass the LETA, we already think of ourselves as someone who is or are competent enough. But rather, passing the licensure examination for teachers simply tells us that the professional teacher possesses the minimum competences. So hence, lahat ng professional teacher is expected to still continue yung developing pagkatapos niyang maipasa ang professional license niya. So, this is one big demand for a professional teacher. The Code of Professional Conduct for Public School Teachers cited in Section 7 of RA 4670 states responsibility is something expected of a professional teacher. The work of a teacher in the development and guidance of the young is a tremendous responsibility for which he is accountable to God, to his country, and to prosperity. It is a crust of which every teacher should strive to be worthy. So yung responsibility daw na ay ini-expect na yan sa pagiging teacher, because ang work ng teacher is to develop and guide the youth, which is napakalaking responsibility kasi konektado to kay God, sa kanyang bansa and to prosperity. Next is this paragraph simply tells us that yung CPD daw ay not an option but rather a necessity. Hindi basta-basta kailangan gawin, like requirement lang na gagawin mo lang because you have to. Kasi kailangan mo talagang gawin to as a professional teacher. So here are a philosophical basis of CPD. So first is growth is an evidence of life. This implies that anything that is alive grows, or anything that grows is alive. So ang teacher daw na buhay grows physically, psychologically, mentally, socially, emotionally, spiritually. So if hindi daw siya nag-grow, it means he or she is no longer alive. Next is the man or woman is an unfinished project. So for a professional teacher, he or she is always in the process of becoming better and better as a person and as a professional teacher. Next, no person has arrived. So walang tao, walang professional daw na can claim, pwede niyang i-claim na nandoon na siya sa finish line, na nandoon na siya sa perfect siya. Kasi even si perfecta or si perfecto na pangalan pa lang ay perfect is not perfect. So this means that no professional has arrived at a perfect state. This implies that every professional is expected to continue developing. So next is the historical and legal basis of continuing professional development in the Philippines. So even before the enactment of the CPD Act of 2016, CPD was already alluded to in the 1987 Philippine Constitution. No less than the fundamental law of the land, Section 5, Paragraph 4 states, the state shall enhance the right of teachers to professional and advancement. So wala pa daw tong CPD wala pa daw tong CPD as an act of 2016. Yung CPD na daw is na-alluded in the 1987 Philippine Constitution na nag-state na kailangan talagang i-enhance yung pagiging professional natin. So here are the other laws cited to continuing professional development. So first, Batas Pambansa 232, the Education Act of 1982, Chapter 3, Duties and Obligations, Section 16, state as one of the teacher's obligation to assume the responsibility to maintain and sustain his professional growth. So dito it state that nakaatang na daw sa sa obligasyon ng teacher na yung i-assume yung responsibilidad niya and i-maintain ito para sa kanyang professional growth and advancement. Second is RA 9155, an act instituting a framework of governance for basic education, establishing authority and accountability, renaming the Department of Education, Culture, Sports as the Department of Education, and for other purposes, was enacted on August 11, 2001 in the enumeration of duties and function of the Secretary of Education, Section 7. So, dito sinasabi na yung mga may power, like Secretary of Education, should have the may dapat kapangyarihan at pananagutan at responsibilidad sa mga ibang bagay tulad na lang ng pag-enhance sa kanyang mga empleyado sa kanilang status na i-encourage yung mga empleyado niya na mag-develop. Next is RA, so just read it. So this law state that yung para daw dito sa law na to, sinabing nag-provide daw ang teacher's professionalism na i-require daw yung continuing professional. So para sa promotion, kailangan mong mag-take ng exam, either oral or written, para sa promotion na walang fee. Pero unfortunately, due to the lack of funding, the merit examination has not been implemented after writing time. So next is number 4. So the Board of Professional Teachers also passed resolution number 435, Section 177 to adopt the Code of Ethics. So dito sinasabi na every teacher daw shall participate in the continuing professional education program of professional regulation commission and shall pursue such other studies as well, improve his efficiency, enhance and prestige of his profession, strengthen his competence, virtue, and productivity in order to be nationally and internationally competitive. And number 5, Executive Order number 266, institutionalization of the continuing professional education program of the various professional regulatory boards under the supervision of the Professional Regulation Commission. This was signed and issued by the office of then President Fidel V. Ramos on July 25, 1995. So state that the completion of professional license of the continuing professional education program adopted by all boards is hereby imposed as mandatory. Required daw yung para ma-complete daw yung professional license natin, required tayong mag-take ng continuing professional education program. So here are the executive order as premised on the following. So whereas the various professions play a crucial role in nation building, whereas it is imperative to impose upon registered professionals the completion of the continuing professional education programs adopted by this concerned board as a prerequisite for the renewal of their license. Another is whereas the professionals who understand the CPE program enable not only to upgrade or improve their technical knowledge and skills, but also to keep them abreast with modern trends and technology in their respective professions, thereby assuring the rendition of highly qualitative professional services that will be globally competitive under the General Agreement on Trades in Services and at the same time securing the safety and protection of the public. So, next is whereas the confidence and patronage of the public in the professional depends upon his competence and quality of service rendered resulting from his acquisition of updates technical knowledge and skills. So yung pagiging professional daw is nakadepende sa pagiging competence and quality of service niya. So last law is the RA 10912 Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016. With the enactment of this law, CPD for all the 43 profession by PRC including the teaching profession has become a mandatory. So sinasabi na yung continuing professional development is mandatory daw to sa 43 profession na under sa PRC. So that would be all. Thank you.
So, to continue the discussion, I am Hania Makaraya Abdulmanan, and the first thing I would be discussing is the salient provision of Republic Act 10912, the Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016. A lot of questions have been raised about Republic Act 10912, otherwise known as the Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016. Many teachers resist CPD or the Continuing Professional Development. Why is it so? Bakit nga ba tutol ang mga guro sa batas na ito? It is because it is claimed to be extra expenses, extra effort, and extra time, when in fact it is every professional's obligation. A professional must meet international standards, and the only way that he can meet that standard is the CPD. Because CPD is the only way professionals can sharpen their competitive edge in an international world that has become a village. And now, we have the need for CPD is heightened by ASEAN integration and internationalization, which are now real. We all know that ASEAN is an international organization, so for a professional to increase his competitiveness internationally, he should go to CPD. Ano nga ba ang purpose ng CPD sa mga professional? It was stated in Republic Act 10912, Article 1 Declaration Policy. It is hereby declared the policy of the state to promote and upgrade the practice of profession in the country. Towards this end, the state shall institute measures that will continuously improve the competence of the professional in accordance with international standards of practice, thereby ensuring their contribution in uplifting the general welfare, economic growth, and development of nation. This Republic Act 10912 Article 1 is to give the Filipino professionals a competitive edge in the ASEAN region and in the world. And now let's proceed to the numbers of CPD units required. In Article 3, Section 11 of the same CPD Act states that the CPD is made as a mandatory requirement in the renewal of the professional identification card of all registered and licensed professionals. For the professional teachers group, based on the Professional Regulatory Board for Professional Teachers Resolution number 11 series of 2017, those lists in the box are the number of units required. And now, as a professional, how can they gain those credit units? These are the ways. First is professional track. This includes training provided by CPD providers accredited by PRC or Professional Regulation Commission. You can earn credit unit as a participant to a training approved by the CPD Council. You can earn more credit units if you serve as a resource speaker, trainer or demonstrator teacher, panelist or reactor, facilitator or moderator. You can earn much more if you are assigned by the CPD Council to monitor the products of an approved CPD program. The second one is the academic track. This refers to the completion of a master's degree, completion of candidacy to the doctorate program, completion of the doctorate program, completion of a postdoctoral diploma, and being recipient of a professional chair grant and or fellowship grant. Take note that the only completion of the master's degree is given full credit units of 45. If you can observe, all of those mentioned are all about academic track or yung mga natapos nila with regards sa academic. Now, the third one is the self-directed track. This includes training offered by non-accredited CPD providers. It refers to the learning activities such as online training, local or international seminars or non-degree courses, institution or company-sponsored training programs, and the like, which did not undergo CPD accreditation but may be applied for and awarded CPD units by the respective CPD Council. Kumbaga, yung mga institusyon na may nag-sponsored na kumpanya na kung saan hindi nag-undergo ng CPD accreditation. In addition, self-directed track includes serving as accreditor. It also includes study tours and social civic activities using the profession. The last but not the least is the productive scholarship. This means that the professional teachers has developed program or training module, curriculum guide, or any other resource materials. Or dito sa track na ito, you can earn credit by writing an article in a professional magazines or could be a research paper na kung saan dapat na maipublish for you to earn a credit units. And now we're here in continuing professional development plan. Developing a personal CPD plan helps teacher leaders develop purposively. Having CPD plan is great because teachers doesn't have to be monitored. Those professional teachers na may CPD plan is those who have it as sincere intent to grow professionally. Professional teachers formulating their respective annual CPD plans and faithfully observing them lead to the building of a CPD culture among professional teachers. With that CPD culture, the negative attitude towards mandatory CPD hopefully will fade away. In that way, those teachers won't think of this as an obligation, but rather it is something that they owe to themselves as a professionals and to the public they serve. That is what we call professionalism.
Hello everyone, I am Majiso Corayana and I will discuss about templates for a CPD plan. There is two templates for a CPD plan. The first one is a template used in public school. The second one is another template by others. So the first template is yan yung mga ginagamit ng DepEd, which is pangkalahatan, general, while yung pangalawa is for individual. But comparing the two templates, make one conclude that they are basically the same. Kasi even though magkaiba yung mga terms na ginamit, actually refers to the same. Teacher's individual plan for professional development. For objectives, ano yung layunin mo, yung target mo, ano yung competence na gusto mong i-enhance sa iyong sarili. For the methods or strategies, ano yung mga activity na gagawin mo para ma-achieve yung mga objectives mo. For the resources, ano yung gagawin mo to access resources. Yan yung mga gagamitin like books, internet, or other resources. For the time frame, dito mo ilalagay on how many days will it take to accomplish it. For the success indicator, ano yung competence na na-enhance sa'yo kung na-achieve mo ba yung mga objectives mo. After yung competence na yun na natutunan mo, ano-ano yung mga mai-improve sa mga pupils mo, like improving the reading comprehension, vocabulary, and so on. So the second template is personal CPD plan. Training need, what do I need to improve my teaching? So, you need to plan first para makuha mo yung goal na gusto mong ma-achieve, like teaching strategies and techniques, para makuha mo yung attention ng mga pupils mo, especially sa mga makukulit na bata, or yung mga low performance, paano mo sila i-motivate. For the objective, ano yung gagawin mo para ma-achieve mo yun? Ano yung target mo? For the activity, ano-ano yung mga activity na gagawin mo to address your need, like tutorial. Example, kapag nakita mo yung isang bata na low performance, so i-guide mo siya or tutor para ma-improve siya. Resources needed. Ano yung mga needs mo to achieve your CPD plan? Like human, you need other people to guide you, to help you. Example, yung mga IT teacher or yung mga expert. Next one is material. To achieve your goals, you need some materials like laptop or LCD. For the time frame, so ilalagay mo yung date, ano yung date ka mag-start. Example is July 2021. Expected outcome, ano yung expect mo na kalalabasan sa ginawa mo. expected outcome. Ano yung results ng naibigay sa'yo na activity na yon sa iyo at sa iyong students. Joining professional learning community or communities of practice. CPD is made possible and alive through professional learning communities. These PLCs are powerful collaborations in which teachers work together to analyze and improve their classroom practice in a systematic process. Means, yung mga teacher, mag-gather yan sila, mag-work together to learn from each other. The Department of Education institutionalized the School Learning Action Cells as a mechanism CPD. Yung Department of Education, nagkakaroon sila ng School Learning Action Cells as a mechanism for CPD. Example, yung isang teacher dun sa school na yun, sinishare niya sa kako-teacher niya ano yung mga techniques and strategies about sa pagtuturo, mga ginagawa niya or paano niya i-discipline ng isang bata. Learning from the CPD practices of high-performing countries. So let us learn from the CPD practices of high-performing countries in Singapore. CPD in Singapore. Bale, Singapore is the first country in the world to adopt PLC framework nationwide. PLC means the professional learning community. Yan yung pag-gather ng mga teacher joining together. Professional development is very much alive in 2010. The Ministry of Education mandated all schools to be a learning organization. For them, example, sa kanila, kapag nakatapos ka ng college level, very alive daw sa kanila kasi every teacher sa kanila is nagma-master degree, PhD degree. Kumbaga, hindi nila ini-stop yung knowledge nila after graduating. Kumbaga, lahat sila nag-professional growth. These PLCs are led by schools leaders who provide with structures and resources to engage in a variety of inquiry-based PD practices. For PD Singapore, teacher research networks, lesson study, and other form of learning circles. In the teacher research network, faculty researcher from NIE, senior specialists from MOE, and teacher researcher including those with higher formal training in research, tinatawag yun sila na research activists. Yung researcher na yun is naging mentor na siya. Siya yung mga nagtuturo sa teachers ano ang mga dapat at kailangan nilang gawin. Second one is the lesson study and other forms of learning circles. Example, yung buong school ay joining together and mag-share sila ng experience nila para matuto yung kako-teachers nila. Ito yung steps sa paggawa ng teachers researcher network. First one is the identification and definition of problem. Of course, as a teacher, you need to observe ano yung situation ng mga students mo, ano yung problems nila. Second one is planning for improvement. Magpa-plan ka ano ang kailangan mong gawin para ma-improve or masolusyonan yung problema. Third is implementation of teaching or learning activities. Kapag nakapag-plan ka, implement muna yung teaching or learning activities mo. Fourth one is observation of results, data collection. You need to observe it if is it effective yung mga techniques, strategies na mga plan na ginawa mo. Last one is reflection on the outcomes. If nakita mo na nag-improve, mag-reflect ka doon sa outcomes na tama pala yung ginawa mo at pwede mo siyang ulit-ulitin. Then, another effective strategy for PD in Singapore is the lesson study. Lesson study adapted from Japan, the overall goal of lesson study is to foster collaborative inquiry and data-driven pedagogical reflection among teachers. Example, may group of teachers tas nagkakaroon sila ng collaboration din pag may mga nagtanong sa kanila, nagkakaroon ng reflection, nagsishare sila ng knowledge, ideas about strategies and techniques na ginagawa nila. This consists of 4 cyclical phases. First one is the study phase. Teacher analyze the curriculum to be taught and formulate long-term teaching and learning goals. Yes, abot-abot naman yung mga words. Planning phase. Second one is the planning phase. Teachers select lesson for research, predict students' thinking and difficulties, and plan the implementation of specific lessons for data collection. Third one is analysis phase. Teachers observe and discuss the classroom evidence collected, like videos, students' written work. Last one is the reflection phase. Teachers discuss student learning and identify new areas for further inquiry. And that's all. Thank you. My report will be continued by my group mates.
Let us learn from the CPD practices of countries which are known for their sterling school performance. CPD in Finland. Teachers in Finland meet one afternoon each week to jointly plan and develop curriculum. They are encouraged to work together to share materials. CPD in Japan. Japan is well known for its lesson study where a teacher demonstrates a lesson as she or he is observed by his colleague. The demonstration lesson is open to critiquing by fellow teachers for professional development. Every teacher periodically prefers a best possible lesson that demonstrates strategies to achieve a specific goal in collaboration with other colleagues. Dahil dito, the students, they becoming active problem solvers or students learning more from each other. Habang nagtuturo ang isang guro is may nag-o-observe sa kanyang iba ring mga guro and nire-record nila ito. So they record the lesson in a number of ways including video tapes, auto tapes, and narrative or checklist observation that focus on areas of interest to the instructing teacher. Isa sa rason kung bakit nila ito nire-record is para malaman nila kung ilan yung mga estudyante na nagpa-participate or nag-volunteer para i-share nila yung idea nila. Afterwards, group of teachers discuss the lesson's strengths and weaknesses, ask questions, and make suggestions to improve the lesson. In some cases, the revised lesson is given by another teacher only a few days later and observed and discussed again. Teachers themselves decide the theme and frequency of research lesson. Large study groups often break up into subgroups of 4 to 6 teachers. 10 to 15 hours of group meeting are spread over 3 to 4 weeks. Most lesson study meeting occurs during the hours after school lets out. While schools let out between 2 to 40 p.m. and 3 to 45 p.m., teachers' work days don't end until 5 p.m. Some teachers also give public research lesson para makita at malaman ng principal, district personnel, and policy makers yung performance ng isang teachers and gives recognition to excellent teachers. CPD in New Zealand. In New Zealand, the Minister of Education is nagbibigay sila ng funds para sa isang guro to observe other teachers. attend professional development activities, courses, and work on curriculum. Mentor teachers deliberately and spend time to observe and confer with beginning teachers. So, let us proceed sa characteristic of effective CPD. The first one is continuous. So, dapat daw continuous, no? Ang isang professional ay hindi dapat tumigil sa pag-develop sa kanyang sarili. So, the number 2 is collaborative. CPD must be collaborative. Sabi nga ni Helen Keller, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Number 3, CPD must be focused on a specific teacher need. Number 4, job embedded. The teacher has not to be removed from the workplace for CPD so there is no work disruption. Number 5 is CPD must be given enough time. And number 6 is it must be funded.